Welcome to the Speak Black Woman podcast. My name is Quinn Conyers, and you guessed it, you are officially quarantining with Quinn. And if you know anything about me, it is my job, it is my mission, and it is my duty to bring you interviews of fabulous Black women who can really boost your business or expand your brand as a speaker. And today we have Shervonne Cherry, who is going to be our special guest. And for those of you who need to get out the house, matter of fact, you know you have been quarantined for way too long, and you might want a space or a place besides a busy Starbucks or Panera Bread to operate and do some work. You definitely want to tune in because Shervonne, that is all about what it is that she does. Now, if you are brand new to the Speak Black Woman podcast and me, my name is Quinn Conyers, and I broadcast the brilliance of Black women in business. I show you how to turn conversations into cash so you can maximize and monetize all speaking opportunities on behalf of your business, your book, or your brand. But more importantly, I want to introduce you. I want to show you. I want you to meet fabulous Black women that I know who can make your job as a woman in business a little bit easier. Or maybe you're a speaker, you need some tips and tools. Again, the guests that I bring on are the people who can really elevate and enhance your brand. So I am not going to make you wait any longer. I want to go ahead and introduce you to Miss Shervonne Cherry from Spark Coworking. She is here with us. And for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, I love me sure some Shervonne, or maybe for those of you who don't know who she is, let me go ahead and introduce you to her. Shervonne Cherry is an innovative and driven entrepreneurial ecosystem builder who utilizes collaborative community building, design thinking, and startup advocacy to provide unique solutions for organizations. She's based right here in Baltimore, and literally she is the head of operations for Spark Baltimore. And also she actually is overseeing some other collaborative workspaces for growing startups and entrepreneurs with locations in Baltimore, Kansas City, and St. Louis. She heads community development and ecosystem for the Spark Coworking. And also prior to that, being in 2016, when she came to Spark, she was also a program manager for Dream It Health Baltimore, a venture capital and seed accelerator for health technology focused startups. So business, startups, that is her thing. Also, she is an organizer and speaker in the Baltimore technology community who runs organized events such as Betascape, the Education Technology Innovation Summit, and TEDx Mid-Atlantic, which I need to get with her because I want to do a TEDx at one point, and maybe she knows somebody that I can do that. But furthermore, we got Miss Shervonne Cherry on the Speak Black Woman podcast. Welcome, Miss Shervonne.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's so exciting to be here. I'm a huge fan, as you know.
Yes, no, awesome, exciting. So some of us are still in a pandemic, and some of us are like wanting to get back out. And a lot of people that I connect with, we are working women and maybe working from home, and maybe we are, needing a space to get out. So I know that you are leading Spark Baltimore. Can you tell everybody what exactly is Spark Baltimore beyond the typical, it's a co-working space, because I've been to y'all and it's so much more than just a co-working space.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I love that you've been here and you feel the energy pre-pandemic, right? You know exactly what our vibe is and our mission is. So Spark Coworking is sort of the overreaching. We're in 3 cities now. So we launched in Baltimore in 2016. So time flies when you're having fun. We launched in Kansas City last summer, and we are about to launch in St. Louis. So now 3 cities serving entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, innovators. And as a collaborative co-working space, many people may know of sort of flex workspace, collaborative space, one location where multiple people or companies can come together. For Spark, we're within that model, but we're really focused on community building in Baltimore, in Kansas City, in St. Louis. We are focused on economic development for the cities that we're in. A lot of times in the tech space, these top tier cities will get the funding, the talent, all the attention. And cities like Baltimore, KC, St. Louis that has amazing companies, amazing talent, great cost of living. You can build your teams and your families in our cities here, and they tend to be flyover. So we want to make sure that we're in locations that can really support the entrepreneurs and small business owners of all shapes, sizes, and colors, because what does an entrepreneur look like? No one knows, because we cover the gambit. It's a rainbow. So we're basically here to provide space, place. We have private offices, desks, suites for growing companies. We've had companies who have been with us here in Baltimore for 5 years. They started with 10 people and now they're a 150 person company. And they were able to all do that within a really flexible workspace. Month to month membership options. So a 5-10 year lease. Don't go through your burn rate. Don't spend all your money on, you can be in a space that's really flexible, that serves all your needs. And community, entrepreneurship is a lonely, lonely place, right? You got to hustle, you're on the go. And if you're in a space with like-minded individuals and team members like myself and our Spark staff here that are amazing, we're your lifeboat, your support, and your cheerleaders. So that's why we're here, to make sure that entrepreneurs are thriving in the cities that we're in.
No, good stuff. You said so much key things. How does somebody know? Like, I know people are like, Panera might be, or what are some signs that it might be time to kind of shift from working at home or working at a Starbucks or working at a Panera to really kind of getting a dedicated workspace at some place like Spark? What are some signs that it is time, sis? It's time to kind of like transition over.
I would say, first off, your internet security. If you're going to a Panera, if you're going to a public Wi-Fi, everyone and anyone can see what you're working on if they're savvy enough. So when you're in a workspace like Spark, we have a dedicated IT team, we have dedicated secure networks. So when you're in our space, we have a gigabit of speed. So there's no worries about slowdowns or in a public sphere. Your personal information is safe on our networks, and we have the teams to be able to support that. Second of all, this past year has been insane, and there's been a lot of changes in a lot of people's lives. Family households have been consolidated. You may have a few extra people in your home. You may have had to move to a different city or a different state. And maybe where you're at right now is just not conducive to effectively growing your business. So having a space that's effective, quiet, innovative, thought-provoking, entrepreneurs really can't thrive in stagnant ecosystems. So when you have a workspace that makes you think, we have the coffee on site, we have the tea on site, we have all different types of workspaces, from meeting rooms to phone booths to private spaces to open areas, socially distanced, of course, that people can work from, because everyone works differently, and no one's a monolith when it comes to building space. So we try to have as diverse types of spaces as possible to suit those needs. Also, when you're in a growth phase, you want to network, meet as many people as you want. You're looking for talent, you're looking for clients. What better way to do that in a space where our team's going to support you, make introductions on your behalf? Not saying you can't do it yourself, because we know that people can network, but it doesn't hurt to have cheerleaders who are going to push you on social media, who are going to make those introductions for you, and want nothing from it. You're part of the ecosystem, and that's our goal.
Yeah, no, you're great point. And I think that you hit on so many things. It's not just about the space. It's about the environment. Does it spark creativity? Do you want to work? Like I'm telling you, every time I go to Spark, I need 10 minutes just to take it in. I got to look around and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. And I just bust out all this work, because the space is like dripping with like creativity and innovation. And sometimes it's like, if I'm here, I'll see random stuff. I'm like, is that a baby? Is that a sippy cup for my child? Because again, we're in this space where your office is now / the baby's room, right? Because we're all, home. But you mentioned something too that I think is very, very important for us to understand as entrepreneurs. You mentioned the ecosystem. Can you kind of break down what is an ecosystem, and how do you feel like Spark kind of adds to like a healthy ecosystem for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so ecosystem is more of like a scientific term, typically, back in the day, and more startup and tech spaces and cities have been really using that to define what we're in. So, within an ecosystem, you need lots of diverse types of individuals, organization, in the lens of startup life, diverse individuals, organizations, support, capital, public private, so entities, you need all of these things to come together to be a successful community. Because if you have a monolith, like think of a bioecosystem, right? If you have nothing but birds in your ecosystem and no plants to feed them or no predators to kind of control, it kind of gets really mucky. So in the lens of entrepreneurship, you need lots of different players within the ecosystem to be successful, to be fruitful, to maintain. Because if you have one sort of area, it can get really monolithic. It can get really, the seesaw is not equaling out. And that's when equity and inclusion and diversity plays a big key into what we're doing. Because like I said earlier, an entrepreneur looks like everyone, you, me. It's not, there's not just one sort of type of what an entrepreneur looks like. And it's true, like what you said, there are so many people when you're home. Some people, we've learned this year that you can work from home, but how effective are you? And that's true, especially for working moms. If you have a child in school, the next room over, and your brain is sort of thinking in that room, while you're trying to focus on a business plan or doing a podcast or whatever it may be. And your brain really does need to separate to be successful. And that's why we want to make sure that we're maintaining space and place to bring success to women, and also have representation. When they come on site, they see me, they see a face that looks like them. They see our staff here in Baltimore, Kansas City, and soon to be St. Louis, women who are doing the work, that are aspiring to do their own entrepreneurial goals. And, representation absolutely matters in spaces. And that's what we want to make sure that Spark is maintaining that.
No, and you guys do a great job of representation. I feel like every time I come to Spark, it's like home, like the home away from home, which I think is very important. And you mentioned a couple different types of working scenarios and situations. So I want you to talk about that, because there is like a dedicated desk, there is an open space, yeah. There is, so talk about some of the options that people have if they want to not just co-work anywhere, because I'm going to push Spark. Why not, right? So if they were interested in, especially if they're in the Baltimore area or Kansas or St. Louis, what are some of the co-working options? Like I know, there are office space, there's dedicated space, and then there's of course the open, but talk a little bit about the options that people have if they want an office away from home.
Yeah. So you literally build what your workspace is, and you can change. And as your company grows and ebbs and flows, your workspace with Spark can grow and change with that, because your membership's on a month-to-month basis. Unless we do have options where you can like lock in for 6 or 12 months or 3 months, because you have cost savings there. But I have members who, I have one member, we always joke, he has changed his workspace in the past 3 years, probably 5 times, because of just how the market's going and how things are changing. And for him, it works so effectively because he doesn't have to worry about, I am paying way too much for rent, because if he needs to shift, especially with the past year, he can shift back. So, with our different types of workspaces, we have desk options, because sometimes you don't need 24/7 access to a workspace. Sometimes you just need a Monday through Friday pop-in spot. You don't need the frills. You don't need all the swipe card access, the gym, all this fun stuff. You just want a spot that's dedicated that you can come and work at. And that's where our desk comes into play. For some folks, they need sort of a private office, lockable office. All of our workspaces are fully furnished, because that's the last thing you need to worry about is going to find furniture for your office. We provide all that for you. It's really an all-inclusive model, right? So we have the security, we have the janitorial services on site, we have the amenities like coffee, beer and wine if you want to have a little celebration when you lock in that new client. Wine on stays is a thing. And also basically meeting room space as well. Those are all amenities that when you are a private office member in the space, you get full access to all of those things. Your logo, that's the first thing we do. We brand your office. We put your logo right on the door, full color. We want everyone to know who you are. We have a big welcome, and we share you on social media that you're a member of the community. And as you grow and sort of build a team up, and you can go from a private single office to a private triple office and so on, then we have our custom build out suites. So as you're growing, you can then shift to a suite option, which now you're doing, instead of the month to month, you're committing to a year or 18 months. But in the world of like workspace, committing a 1 year to a suite that can house 10 to 20 people is still extremely short term in the terms of like traditional like commercial real estate sort of thing, which I hate, the whole commercial real estate vibe. And I'm like, we're a community, we're focused in collaboration. But for suites, that's such a great space because as you're growing, I've been with an organization when a little younger in my tech career. We were literally 5 people in our CEO's basement of an organization I work with. We were a mobile tech agency. And in those 5 years, we had 4 or 3 different mailing addresses. And when you're a young company and you're waiting for those checks to come in and you're waiting for certain things and something gets sent to the wrong location because you just moved because you don't want, we were almost penalized for growth because we grew the company from 5 to 50 in that time period. And for folks, when they come to Spark, I don't want them to be penalized because they're being successful and they're growing. They can easily just go up the escalator and get the workspace that they need for the state of entrepreneurship that they're in right now.
No, good stuff. Tell me about some of the people who are there, right? Because somebody could be thinking, well, I have a product is a workspace for me, or I have a service-based business, or I'm a tech company, or, what type of businesses could really benefit from, taking advantage of a co-working facility, whether it's a day, a week, a year, because some people are like, that's not for me. That's for people like that. I just want you to kind of break that down a little bit.
Well, first off, I just want to say that Spark is for all types of individuals. It's funny because you mentioned when you come into the space, you feel inspired, you feel energized. And there are times when people feel that's not for us. They see something and say, oh, well, that's not for us. That's a little too nice. That's a little too corporate. And there's some subtext to that, right? And what I say is, you deserve to be here. This is a space for you. It doesn't matter that there's, nice pictures on the wall or Instagrammable moments or a gourmet coffee bar. That is for you to be able to grow and support. And one thing I always want to make sure is that our workspace is inclusive and open, and it's available for entrepreneurs of all types. And I think a lot of times when people see a quote like nice space, it's not for like a certain subset of entrepreneur, and that's absolutely not true. And I've corrected many of folk who are like, oh, that's an interesting sort of workspace. Is it for me? I'm like, are you an entrepreneur? Are you growing a business? Absolutely. So we have members who are SaaS, computer science, computer developers, products, services. We have nonprofit, for-profit. We have government contractors that are in the space. There's an element of entrepreneurship and the spirit of entrepreneurship in almost everything that we're doing. Mm-hmm. So the sky's the limit when the types of businesses and companies we actually serve. We have right now about 18 different industry verticals that are representative in all 3 cities that we're in, from transportation to education to software development. So cybersecurity. So it's not just like the tech fields. We have an organization that is actually doing virtual vehicle registration, right? That they have their offices here with us. We also have big corporate entities. We have, U.S. Bank that has membership within our community. A lot of times they'll have subsidiaries or smaller teams within cities that they don't necessarily need to come into the big office, but they want to make sure that they can have a workspace. So the sky's the limit from the young fledgling entrepreneur that is just starting out, that is not sure what they're looking for. We've had students in the summertime. We have lots of students and educators that'll come in to do dissertations or study before the bar exams. And then we have those, like I said, those larger corporate entities that come in too. And that diversity of types of organizations and people is what makes Spark so unique and different, because we're not just a monolith of the type of company. It's not, you have to be a tech entrepreneur. We're not full of tech bros, in the space. It's very, very different. So you can make lots of very diverse connections with people. And that's going to only make your thought and product more successful as well.
Awesome. That's good stuff. So I want to bring this to a section where I call broadcast your brilliance. So people are listening and they are learning. They're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, especially if they're in Kansas, St. Louis, or Baltimore. And they're like, where can I learn more about Spark? Where should they go? What should they do?
Oh, so first off, sparkcoworking.com. That is our website. You can find all 3 cities there. Baltimore, Kansas City just opened. I can check off opening a co-working space in the middle of a global pandemic off of my list of things to do. So Kansas City opened in September of 2020. St. Louis, it will be opening this summer of 2021. So check us out at sparkcoworking.com. We're on all the social channels. You can Google Spark Baltimore, Spark Kansas City, or Spark St. Louis, and we'll pop up for you.
That's awesome. And no, that's really, really good. So there's so many things that I feel like are just beneficial to a co-working space that you had, mentioned. But for someone who's just like, I'm still kind of on the fence. Mm-hmm. Is there any opportunities, especially now, or can people check you guys out? Like, is there a virtual tour? Or are you guys allowing people back into, the facility physically to come in?
Yeah. So we are scheduling all of our tours right now are virtual, which is great. I love that because you can be at home, hanging out, comfortable in your slippers or fuzzies or whatever, and you can walk through Spark. And it's real time. We do it on a Zoom or on FaceTime, whatever works best for you. And you can interact with us, ask us questions. Can you go back to that other office? Can I see that over there? It's not this static floor plan or this static sort of video walkthrough. We're really sort of engaging and interacting with you. We're going to be opening back up to the public a little later in this quarter as well, in kind of like appointment only mode. So traditionally we would do day passes where an individual could come in and $15, 15. If you were to go to Starbucks and hang out there at a cafe or whatnot, you would be probably dropping $15 to $20.
That's one drink.
And one drink, I know, one drink. We, for $15, you get a full day from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. access to the space, to our coffee, to our access, our meeting rooms and phone booths. And so, and that's really cost effective for a lot of folks. Yeah. I think it's just for one day. So we're going to be ramping that back up a little later in this quarter, so that way we can bring some of the public ecosystem back into the space, and so they can share that as well. And then we also have meeting rooms on site. So the meeting rooms are not just for members. You can utilize a meeting room in all of our cities, whether you're a member or not, because sometimes a stodgy, nothing wrong with a hotel meeting room, right? That's very traditional and what people are used to for holding their business meetings. But sometimes you want something different. Sometimes you're doing an off-site training and you don't want your team members to be sort of, I'm in a hotel sort of space. You can be in a really active workspace that feels inviting, that has coffee on site, that you can bring in your own catering, whiteboards, AV, TV, Zoom rooms, everything that you would need to be successful and not pay those add-on costs, because it's all included in your rental rate.
And I can test, I'm the unofficial president of the Spark Baltimore fan club, y'all. So I have used the meeting room, the spaces, everything, of course, pre-pandemic. And it's just been great. And Shervonne has always just kind of welcomed, me with open arms. So I appreciate that. So definitely let me know when it is open, because I definitely sang Spark's praises. I had to be a little quiet because I knew that it was only open to members, which makes sense for everybody's safety. But when it opens up, I definitely recommend it if you want to get away or you want to work, just for a day and get out. I mean, literally, because of the pandemic, I had to create a whole revenue room you see behind me, because you really couldn't go anywhere. But now that the world is slowly but surely opening up, I do like to get out and get like a fresh environment or even a fresh perspective. So Shervonne, I absolutely thank you for that. And for those of you who are again joining us, my name is Quinn. I'm having a conversation with Shervonne on the Speak Black Women podcast. And if you guys didn't already hear, I am birthing my second book. It is called Speak Black Woman: How Women in Business Can Profit from Public Speaking. And to celebrate that, I am having a Speak Black Woman experience on May the 22nd. So if you want to join and be a part of that and learn tips and tools and transformation on how to use your voice in every aspect of your business, go to quinconyers.com, click on events, and you can register. Shervonne, any last minute words for anyone out there who is an entrepreneur, and maybe they're a mom, or maybe they're just a little bit overwhelmed and they need a creative workspace? space, why should they come out and check out Spark Baltimore if they're in, Spark. I'm getting used to the other two locations, right? So why should they come out and check out, Spark, whether they're in Baltimore, Kansas City, or St. Louis?
Well, one, knowing that they're not alone. Like I said, it's a hustle, it's a drive. And when you're in a part of the Spark community, we are here to support you. We're here to share your products, your services with our community, our Spark community, and our partners. I didn't get to dive into this a little earlier. We have a whole community of non-Spark related partners, from Southwest Airlines to the Kauffman Foundation, to Forward Cities, the various organizations in all the cities that we're in that are extensions of our community and our ecosystem. So it's not just us they're getting, it's our whole gamut of support organizations that can help them grow. But we're here to support you. If you're not thriving, Spark's not thriving. So we work for our members. We want to make sure that they are being supported, their companies are growing. And because entrepreneurship is the literal backbone of the country that we're in. And we want to make sure that we're supporting especially Black women. We have proven, we know for a fact that whatever we do, we are successful. We are the most educated subset in this country. And, I'm so proud to be able to grow this one little location 5 years ago to now 3 cities and beyond. And basically also show that you can, through your own, energy, knowledge, willpower, combined with the ecosystem of what Spark has to offer and what your city has to offer, you can make it happen. And we're here for you. So I'm super excited to meet some of the listeners and hopefully engage with them. And I'm going to be at that event in May. That's exciting.
Yes, come. You know what? And when you guys open up, let me know. I mean, I'm going to be celebrating the book celebration all year. So if there's even something small like a meet and greet I can do in Spark, that will be amazing. Maybe in Q4, because I'm not really sure what's going on. So in May, it is virtual. But listen, I am itching to get back out into the world, because I'm an extrovert every day, all day, and twice on Sunday. So this pandemic has me like chomping at the bit to kind of get out. And again, but Shervonne, thank you so much. As always, you have always just been an awesome and amazing advocate for women entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs, period. So I just want to celebrate you and thank you for sharing some wisdom on just the overall benefits of co-working spaces. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing your words of wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun, as usual, because you're amazing. So thank you so much.
Yes, my pleasure. Well, stick around for a second. I'm going to close out and I'll be right with you. Listen, as you can see, Shervonne has so much also amazing nuggets and wisdom for people like you who are interested in learning how to grow and extend your business by leveraging co-working spaces. So if you're watching this live, we're going to put the link in the box so you'll know where to go. If you're listening at your leisure, check the show notes in the podcast. We're going to make sure that Spark Co-working, the website, is there for you to take advantage of. Again, my name is Quinn. You are watching the Speak Black Woman podcast each and every Wednesday. A new episode does release, and I'm excited that you are here. So as always, thank you so much, and be sure that you speak up as a Black woman, because your voice is your superpower in business. I'll see you in the next episode of the Speak Black Woman podcast. Have an awesome and amazing day.